and massive crystal towers of Nexus Prime stretched into the purple sky like frozen lightning. Ships from 1,000 worlds floated around the station, their hulls gleaming with metals that Earth had never seen. Some vessels looked like living creatures with smooth, flowing lines. Others appeared to be made of pure light that somehow held its shape. Ambassador Hyen-Woo Kim stood at the viewport of humanity's flagship, watching the alien ships with wonder. His hands were steady, but his heart was beating fast. Today would change everything for Earth. Today, humanity would join the greatest civilization the galaxy had ever known. "Sir, we're receiving docking instructions," said Lieutenant Tae-Jin Park from the communications station. His voice was calm, but Hyen-Woo could hear the excitement underneath. Tae-Jin had worked for years to make this moment possible. He was Earth's best scientist, and his discoveries had finally gotten the Council's attention. "Thank you, Lieutenant," Hyen-Woo replied. He smoothed his formal diplomatic uniform and checked his appearance one last time. Everything had to be perfect. Earth only got one chance to make a first impression. The human delegation consisted of just 12 people. Compared to the massive alien ships around them, their 3 small vessels looked like toys. But Hyen-Woo was proud of what humanity had achieved. Nuclear fusion, space travel, artificial intelligence, and quantum communications were no small accomplishments for a species that had only left their home planet 200 years ago. Captain So Young Lee joined him at the viewport. She commanded Earth's newest warship, though calling it a warship was generous. Compared to the alien vessels, it was barely armed. "Those ships could destroy our entire fleet without breaking a sweat," she said quietly. "We're not here to fight," Hyen-Woo reminded her. "We're here to join them." "I know," So Young said. "But I've spent my whole career protecting Earth. Looking at those ships makes me realize how small we really are." Their ships docked with the station through a shimmering energy field that felt like walking through warm honey. The artificial gravity was perfect, and the air smelled like flowers mixed with something metallic. Everything about Nexus Prime screamed advanced technology. The delegation was met by a tall, blue-skinned alien with 4 arms and eyes like black diamonds. "Welcome, humans," the creature said in perfect English. "I am Guide Velther. The Council awaits your presentation." They walked through corridors that seemed to be carved from single pieces of crystal. Holographic displays showed news from across the galaxy. Hyen-Woo saw images of planets he couldn't even imagine, with cities that floated in the clouds and forests made of metal trees. The galaxy was so much bigger and more wonderful than he had ever dreamed. The council chamber was enormous. Thousands of beings from hundreds of different worlds sat in floating chairs arranged in perfect circles around a central stage. Some aliens looked almost human, while others were so strange that Hyen-Woo couldn't figure out how they moved or breathed. The diversity was incredible. At the highest point sat Council Speaker Vextar the Magnificent. He was easily 3 meters tall, with golden skin and a crown that seemed to be made of captured starlight. When he spoke, his voice echoed through the chamber like thunder. "Humans of Earth," Vextar announced, "you have requested membership in our great council. Present your case." Hyen-Woo walked to the center of the stage, feeling the weight of thousands of alien eyes upon him. "Honored Council," he began, "humanity comes before you with respect and hope. We offer our friendship and our abilities to serve the greater good of the galaxy." Some of the aliens began whispering to each other. Hyen-Woo couldn't understand their languages, but the tone didn't sound encouraging. Tae-Jin stepped forward and activated a holographic projector. Images of Earth's greatest achievements appeared in the air around them. "We have mastered nuclear fusion," he explained proudly. "Our cities are powered by the same energy that lights the stars. We have developed artificial intelligence to help U.S. solve complex problems. Our quantum communication system allows instant contact across our solar system. The whispering grew louder. Then, somewhere in the audience, an alien laughed. It was a harsh, croaking sound that echoed through the chamber. Soon, other aliens were laughing too. Nuclear fusion? Called out a creature that looked like a walking crystal. We mastered that technology 50,000 years ago. Artificial intelligence? Squeaked a small, furry being. My pet has better processing power than their best computers. The laughter spread through the chamber like wildfire. Haiyan Wu felt his face burning with embarrassment, but he forced himself to stand straight. Beside him, Taejin was staring. At the floor, his hands shaking slightly. A massive alien that looked like a walking tree trunk stood up. Quantum communications across one star system? My children's toys can communicate across the galaxy. Look at their ships, shouted another. Voice. They're held together with metal bolts. How primitive can you get? Council Speaker Vextar raised one golden hand, and the chamber fell silent. His expression was one of amused condescension, like an adult watching children play with blocks. Humans, he said, his voice dripping with false sympathy. Your efforts are ... charming. But surely you must understand that the Galactic Council is reserved for truly advanced civilizations. We may not be as advanced as you, Haiyan Wu said, trying to keep his voice steady, but we learn quickly. We're peaceful, hardworking, and eager to contribute to galactic society. Contribute? Vextara's laugh was like breaking glass. What? Could you possibly contribute? You've barely crawled out of your gravity well. You think nuclear fusion is an achievement? The Helix Confederation has been building stars for millennia. A serpentine alien with scales that changed color slithered forward. Perhaps we could use their world as a nature preserve, it hissed. A place to observe primitive life forms in their natural habitat. Or a zoo, suggested a floating jellyfish-like creature. Imagine how amusing it would be to watch them discover technologies we discarded eons ago. The chamber erupted in laughter again. Aliens were pointing at the human delegation, making jokes in dozens of languages. So Young's hand moved instinctively toward her sidearm, but Haiyan Wu caught her eye and shook his head slightly. The council has reached its decision, Vextar announced, though no vote had been taken. Earth's petition for membership is denied. Return to your little world, and perhaps in a few thousand years, when you've evolved past your barbaric nature and learned to create something meaningful, we might consider your request again. Barbaric? Haiyan Wu stepped forward, anger finally breaking through his diplomatic training. We may not have your technology, but we've never treated visitors with such contempt. Guards, Vextar said with a wave of his hand, escort our guests back to their ships. And do try not to let them touch anything important. The blue-skinned guide who had welcomed them now looked embarrassed as he led them back through the crystal corridors. Other aliens they passed pointed and whispered, clearly amused by the failed human delegation. As they reached their ships, So Young finally spoke up. That was humiliating, she said through gritted teeth. They treated us like we were insects. No, said Dr. Yoon Ji-yoon, the youngest member of their delegation and Earth's most brilliant engineer. She had been quiet throughout the entire presentation, but now her eyes burned with determination. They treated us like we were nothing, but they made a mistake. What do you mean? Haiyan Wu asked. They showed us exactly what's possible, Yoon Ji replied, and they assumed we'd never be able to achieve it. They just gave us the greatest motivation humanity has ever had. As their small fleet undocked from Nexus Prime, Haiyan Wu looked back at the magnificent crystal towers one last time. We'll be back, he said quietly, dotting the depths of space. The human ships turned toward Earth, carrying their wounded pride and burning determination home to a world that would never be the same. 5 years had passed since the humiliation at Nexus Prime. The galaxy continued its daily business, trading goods between star systems and holding boring political meetings. Most aliens had already forgotten about the primitive humans who had dared to ask for membership in their great council. On distant monitoring stations, alien observers occasionally noticed increased activity around Earth's solar system. Energy readings spiked from time to time, and there seemed to be more ships moving between planets. But the watchers simply marked it down as the primitives playing with bigger toys, and went back to their routine reports deep beneath the Himalayan mountains. Jin Ho Choi worked in a facility that didn't officially exist. The massive underground complex stretched for miles in every direction, filled with laboratories, factories, and workshops that hummed with constant activity. Jin Ho had been appointed director of Earth's Unified Defense Initiative 3 years ago, and he hadn't slept more than 4 hours a night since then. Director, the quantum field generators are ready for testing, announced Dr. Bio Ram Song as she entered his office. At 28 years old, she was the youngest person ever to receive a doctorate in quantum physics, and her mind worked in ways that amazed even her colleagues. Her wild hair was tied back in a messy bun, and her lab coat was covered in equations written in marker. Which version? Jin Ho asked, looking up from a stack of reports that seemed to grow taller every day. Version 47, Ram said with excitement. I think we finally cracked the stability problem. If I'm right, we can generate controlled quantum fields that don't collapse after 3 seconds. Jin Ho nodded and followed her through the corridors of the secret facility. They passed workshops where teams of engineers built devices that would have seemed like magic to most humans just a few years ago. The rejection by the Galactic Council had done something unexpected to humanity. Instead of giving up, they had become determined to prove themselves worthy. Every nation on Earth had contributed to the project. Money, resources, and the brightest minds of humanity were all focused on one goal. They would earn their place among the stars, no matter what. It took Dot in Laboratory 7. Bioram activated her latest creation. The machine was the size of a small building, covered in strange crystalline components that seemed to bend light around them. As it powered up, the air itself began to shimmer. Quantum field established, reported one of her assistants. Stability at 98% and holding. Jin Ho watched the readings in amazement. How long can you maintain it? That's the beautiful part, Ram said with a grin. Theoretically, forever. The field feeds on quantum vacuum energy. It actually generates more power than it consumes. Across the facility, Wu Jin Nam was having his own breakthrough. As head of Earth's new xenobiology division, he had spent the last 5 years studying every piece of alien technology they could get their hands on. Most of it came from black market dealers who sold scraps and broken components to primitive worlds for ridiculous prices. But Wu Jin was brilliant at reverse engineering. He could look at a piece of alien technology and understand not just how it worked, but how to make it better. His laboratory was filled with devices that combined human engineering with alien principles, creating hybrid technologies that were more advanced than either alone. The helix crystal fragments are responding to our neural interface, he told his team. It seems like their technology is designed to work with biological thought patterns, not just electronic signals. His assistant, Dr. Min Kyung Lee, nodded excitedly. If we can create a stable bioelectronic bridge, we could control their systems directly with human thoughts. Better than that, Yan said. We could improve their systems. Human creativity combined with alien technology could produce things the galaxy has never seen. In another section of the facility, Yoon Ji-yoon was revolutionizing manufacturing. The young engineer who had sworn revenge at Nexus Prime was now the head of Earth's Advanced Production Division. Her factories didn't look like factories at all. They were vast chambers filled with silver mist that could assemble anything from simple tools to complex starships at the molecular level. Nanotechnology isn't new, she explained to a group of visiting scientists from the surface world. But we've taken it further than anyone thought possible. These nanobots can work with any material, including alien substances we don't fully understand yet. They learn and adapt as they work. She gestured to a viewing window with a silver. Mist was building a spacecraft. The nanobots moved like a living thing, flowing around the growing ship and adding components with impossible precision. This frigate will be finished in 6 hours. A traditional shipyard would need 6 months. How many can you build? Asked one of the visitors. As many as we need, Yunji replied. The nanobots reproduce themselves from raw materials. Give me enough metal and energy, and I can build a fleet. The surface world had no idea what was happening beneath their feet. Governments told their people that Earth was focusing on internal development after the diplomatic failure with the Galactic Council. Most humans went about their normal lives, working and raising families and watching entertainment shows. In secret facilities around the world, humanity was transforming itself. In the depths of the Pacific Ocean, massive underwater cities were being built. These weren't simple research stations, but full colonies that could house millions of people. The cities were protected by energy shields that could stop anything from nuclear weapons to asteroid impacts in orbit around Earth. Construction crews were building space habitats that looked more like works of art than space stations. The new stations used artificial gravity, controlled weather systems, and energy sources that seemed to violate the laws of physics. On the moon, miners were extracting materials that didn't exist anywhere else in the known galaxy. These exotic substances had been created by accident during Earth's first experiments with quantum manipulation, but they turned out to be incredibly useful for building advanced technology. The alien monitoring stations continued to file their routine reports. Energy spikes detected around Earth system, they would write. Primitive humans appear to be conducting industrial experiments. No cause for concern. If they had looked closer, they might have noticed that the energy spikes were actually the signatures of technologies that surpassed anything in their own civilizations. But they didn't look closer. The aliens were too busy with their own affairs to pay attention to one small world full of primitives. Dr. Chung Ho Shin, Earth's leading expert on exotic matter, made a discovery that would change everything. In his laboratory, deep beneath the Antarctic ice, he successfully created a stable microsingularity. The tiny black hole was no bigger than a marble, but it contained enough energy to power an entire city for 1,000 years. This changes everything, he told Jinho during their weekly briefing. With controlled singularities, we have unlimited energy. We can power technologies that the aliens think are impossible. How soon can you scale it up? Jinho asked. Give me 6 months, and I can build reactors that make their fusion plants look like campfires. Chung Ho replied. As the 5th year since the rejection ended, Earth had become something the galaxy had never seen before. Humanity had not just advanced technology, they had leaped beyond anything that currently existed. They had taken the aliens' mockery and turned it into motivation for greatness. The aliens continued to ignore Earth, assuming that the primitive humans were still struggling with basic space travel. They had no idea that they were about to meet a species that had achieved technological singularity in just 5 years. In his underground office, Jinho looked at the reports from all of Earth's secret projects. Humanity was ready for the next step. It was time to remind the galaxy that they existed, and this time the aliens would not be laughing. Captain Zif Ren of the Helix Confederation was having a boring day. His exploration ship, the Crystal Wind, was on routine patrol through the outer edges of the Sol system. The Helix High Command had ordered regular checks on the primitive human world though nobody really expected to find anything interesting. "Captain," called his sensor officer, "we're detecting a vessel near the asteroid belt. It appears to be drifting without power." Zifran's crystalline body flickered with mild interest. The helix were beings made of living crystal, and their emotions showed as different colors in their transparent forms. Another human experiment gone wrong, I suppose. "Let's take a look." The crystal wind approached the strange ship slowly. It was unlike anything in their databases. The hull seemed to be made of a dark material that absorbed light rather than reflecting it. No energy signatures, no heat, no signs of life at all. "It's completely dead," reported the science officer. "But the design is unusual. I've never SEEN hull materials like this. Probably some new alloy the humans are playing with," Zifran said dismissively. "Board it and see if there's anything worth salvaging. The humans might even thank us for cleaning up their space junk." A boarding party of 6 helix soldiers crossed to the human ship through an airlock that seemed far too advanced for primitive technology. The inside of the ship was even stranger than the outside. The corridors were wide and smooth, with walls that seemed to glow with their own inner light. "This doesn't look primitive," muttered Sergeant Kylanth as they moved deeper into the ship. "The engineering is actually quite sophisticated." They found what appeared to be the cargo bay, but it was completely empty. Not just empty of cargo, but empty of everything. No equipment, no storage containers, nothing but bare walls and floor. "Strange place to abandon a ship," said one of the soldiers. "Why leave it here with nothing inside?" That's when they heard footsteps echoing through the empty space. The helix soldiers raised their energy weapons, scanning for targets, but they saw nothing. The footsteps continued, coming closer. Then, out of apparently empty air, a human figure materialized. He was wearing a sleek black suit that seemed to bend light around it, and his face was calm and friendly. Behind him, 5 more humans appeared, as if they had been invisible. "Greetings," said the lead human in perfect helix language. "I'm Captain Dong Hyun Kong. We've been waiting for you." Sergeant Kylanth kept his weapon trained on the humans. "Waiting for us? How did you know we were coming?" "We've been monitoring your patrol routes for weeks," Dong Hyun replied pleasantly. "We wanted to meet with representatives of the Helix Confederation, and this seemed like the best opportunity." "This ship appeared to be derelict," Kylanth said, suspiciously. "Our sensors detected no power, no life signs." One of the other humans, a woman with short black hair, stepped forward. "I'm Science Officer Seung-Min Oh. What your sensors detected was exactly what we wanted them to detect. Our stealth technology is quite advanced." As she spoke, the empty cargo bay began to change. Equipment materialized out of thin air. Walls became transparent to reveal complex machinery beyond, and the ceiling opened to show additional levels. That hadn't been there moments before. The Helix soldiers found themselves surrounded by dozens of sleek combat drones that had been perfectly camouflaged. The weapons platforms were unlike anything in their databases, and they were all pointed directly at the boarding party. "Please don't be alarmed," Dong Hyun said, still speaking in a calm, friendly tone. "We have no intention of harming you. This is simply a demonstration." "A demonstration of what?" Kylanth demanded, though his crystalline form was now flickering with nervous yellow light. "Of what humanity has become," replied Seung-Min. She walked toward the nearest wall, and to the Helix soldier's amazement, she passed through it as if it were made of air. A moment later, she stepped back through the solid wall, completely unharmed. "Phase shift technology," she explained. "We can alter the quantum state of matter at will. Walls, weapons, even your armor become meaningless when we choose to ignore them." Another human, who introduced himself as Engineer Jae-Sung Kim, gestured to the combat drones. "These are our basic defense units. Each one is powered by a contained singularity and armed with quantum disruptors. A single drone could disable your entire ship without damaging it. Impossible, Kylanth said, but his voice lacked conviction. Humans don't have technology like this. You're barely out of your Stone Age. Dong Haiyan smiled sadly. That's what your people told us 5 years ago. That's what all the galaxy told us. We were primitive, barbaric, not worth your time or respect. He activated a holographic display that showed images of Earth's hidden cities, orbital stations, and fleets of advanced ships. We took your rejection as a challenge. In 5 years, we've advanced further than most civilizations do in 1,000,000 years. The hologram showed human cities floating in space, held together by forces that the Helix couldn't identify. Massive ships that seemed to be built from crystallized energy moved between planets with impossible speed. Structures that appeared to exist in multiple dimensions at once defied everything the aliens thought they knew about physics. Your council mocked us, continued Dong Haiyan. They said we had nothing to contribute to galactic civilization. They were wrong. Sung Min activated another device, and suddenly every Helix soldier found their weapons had stopped working. The energy cells were still full, the circuits were undamaged, but the weapons simply wouldn't fire. Quantum field manipulation, she explained. We can disrupt the strong nuclear force that holds your weapons' energy together. Or we can enhance it. She reversed the effect, and the weapons came back online, but now they were glowing with twice their normal power output. You could have destroyed our ship the moment we arrived, Kylanth realized. We could have destroyed your entire fleet without you ever knowing we were here, Dong Haiyan confirmed. But that's not who we are. Humans don't seek to dominate others. We seek to understand, to grow, to help. He gestured to his crew, and the combat drones folded back into their hidden positions. The cargo bay returned to its previous empty appearance, though now the Helix soldiers knew it was an illusion. We're going to request another audience with the Galactic Council, Dong Haiyan announced. This time, things will be different. They'll never believe us, Kylanth said. If we report this, they'll think we've gone insane. Sung Min handed him a small device that looked like a crystal sphere. This contains complete sensor recordings of everything you've seen here. It also contains detailed specifications for 3 technologies that will revolutionize galactic civilization. Consider it a gift. The Helix soldiers were escorted back to their ship in a daze. As the crystal wind pulled away from the human vessel, they watched it simply vanish from there. Sensors as if it had never existed. Back on their ship, Kylanth stared at the crystal sphere in his hand. The sensor data was impossible to fake, and the technology specifications were beyond anything the Helix had ever imagined. Captain, he said to Xiphron, we need to contact High Command immediately. What should I tell them? Xiphron asked, his crystalline form flickering with confusion. Tell them that the humans want to talk again, Kylanth replied. And tell them that this time the Council better listen. The emergency session of the Galactic Council had been called after frantic reports from 3 different species. The Helix, the Zephyrians, and even the proud Vorthok had all encountered humans in the past month, and their reports were impossible. To believe Council Speaker Vextar the Magnificent sat on his golden throne, reading the reports with growing irritation. According to these documents, the primitive humans had somehow developed technology that surpassed anything in the galaxy. It was clearly impossible. Honored Speaker, said Counselor Thexara of the Helix Confederation, her crystalline form flickering. With nervous energy, our best scientists have analyzed the data. The technology is real. The humans have somehow achieved breakthroughs that we thought were impossible. Nonsense, Vextar replied dismissively. 5 years ago, these creatures were playing with nuclear fusion, like children with fire. They cannot have advanced so far so quickly. Nevertheless, said the floating jellyfish-like representative of the Zephyrians, they have requested another audience. And given what our patrols have encountered, I believe we should grant it. Vextar wanted to refuse, but the other council members were clearly nervous. The reports were too detailed and came from too many sources to ignore completely. Very well, he announced. Let the humans come and present whatever tricks they think will impress us. We shall humor them one final time. 3 days later, the human delegation arrived at Nexus Prime. This time, they came in only one ship, but that ship made every alien stop and stare. It was beautiful beyond description, looking more like a work of art than a spacecraft. The hull seemed to be made of crystallized starlight, and it moved through space with impossible grace. Ambassador Hyen-Woo Kim walked through the crystal corridors of the station, just as he had 5 years before, but everything was different now. Aliens who had laughed at him before now watched him with curiosity and fear. Whispers followed him wherever he went. This time, he was not alone. Dr. G1 Beak walked beside him, carrying a small device that looked like nothing more than a crystal cube. Behind them came Young Soo Lim, Earth's new Minister of Galactic Affairs, and Dr. Hai-Jin Park, who had been promoted to Chief Engineer after creating miracles that redefined what technology could do. The council chamber was packed. Every seat was filled, and additional observers floated in the air around the main floor. The tension in the room was thick enough to cut with a knife. Council Speaker Vextar tried to maintain his superior attitude, but Hyen-Woo could see the uncertainty in his golden eyes. Humans, Vextar announced, you have requested a second audience. We have granted this as a courtesy, though we fail to see what has changed since your last ... presentation. Everything has changed, Hyen-Woo replied simply. He nodded to Dr. G1 Beak, who stepped forward and activated her small device. Instantly, every piece of technology in the massive council chamber shut down. The lights went out, plunging the vast space into darkness. The artificial gravity failed, causing aliens to float helplessly in the air. Life support systems stopped humming, and emergency alarms began to wail before they too fell silent. In the perfect darkness, Young Soo Lin's voice rang out clearly. His personal equipment continued to work perfectly, projecting his words throughout. The chamber. What you are experiencing is our quantum disruptor field. Every circuit, every power source, every advanced system you rely on is now under our complete control. Emergency lighting flickered on, casting eerie shadows throughout the chamber. The aliens could see that the human delegation's equipment was still functioning normally, glowing with soft blue light that seemed to come from nowhere. This is impossible, gasped Counselor Vrexton of the Vorthik. Our systems are shielded against every known form of electromagnetic interference. Dr. Hai-Jin Park smiled gently. Your shields are designed to stop electromagnetic interference, but we're not using electromagnetic fields. We're manipulating the quantum foam that underlies all matter and energy in the universe. She gestured, and holographic displays appeared in the air around the chamber, showing images that made the aliens gasp in wonder and terror. Earth cities now floated freely in space, held together by controlled gravity fields and powered by miniature black holes. Massive structures existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously, their architecture defying every law of physics the aliens thought they understood. 5 years ago, you laughed at our nuclear fusion, Dr. G1 Beak said, her voice calm and professional. Today, we have learned to create and control singularities. We can tear holes in space and time, or weave new realities from quantum probability. The holographic display showed human ships moving instantly between star systems, not by traveling faster than light, but by folding space itself. Massive engineering projects reshaped entire solar systems, moving planets, and redirecting the energy of stars. Your fusion reactors, continued Dr. Hyjin Park, produce energy by combining light elements into heavier ones. Our reactors extract energy directly from the vacuum of space itself. We have learned to tap into the infinite power that exists between the atoms of empty air. Council Speaker Vex Star tried to speak, but found that his communication implants had been disabled along with everything else. The humans had demonstrated that they could shut down the technology of the entire galaxy with a device the size of a child's toy. Young Su Lim continued his presentation as if nothing unusual was happening. We have solved problems that your civilizations didn't even know existed. We have created materials that exist in 11 dimensions simultaneously. We have built computers that process information faster than light by using quantum entanglement networks that span the galaxy. The holographic displays showed more wonders. Human scientists worked alongside beings of pure energy that the galaxy had feared for millennia. These creatures, which had been considered dangerous monsters, were revealed to be ancient intelligences that humanity had learned to communicate with and befriend. You told us we were barbaric, Haiyan Wu said, his voice carrying clearly through the silent chamber. You said we had nothing to contribute to galactic civilization. You were wrong. Dr. G1 Beak deactivated her device, and slowly the station systems came back online. Lights flickered on, gravity returned, and the aliens found themselves back in their seats. But everyone in the chamber had been fundamentally changed by what they had experienced. We could have destroyed every ship in your fleet before you even knew we were here, Dr. Hyjin Park explained. We could have taken control of every computer system in the galaxy and rewritten your entire civilization. But that is not who we are. We are not conquerors, Young Su Lim added. We are builders, healers, and teachers. We offer our friendship and our knowledge to any who will accept it in the spirit of equality and mutual respect. The chamber was completely silent. Thousands of beings from hundreds of worlds sat in stunned amazement, trying to process what they had just witnessed. Finally, Counselor Vexara of the Helix Confederation found her voice. What do you want from us? Haiyan Wu smiled. The same thing we wanted 5 years ago. We want to join your council as equals. We want to work together to solve the problems that face all our peoples. We want to build a better galaxy. But now, he added quietly, we're not asking for permission. The silence in the council chamber stretched for what felt like hours. Thousands of alien beings sat frozen in their seats, staring at the human delegation with a mixture of fear, awe, and disbelief. Everything they thought they knew about the galaxy had just been turned upside down. Finally, Council Speaker Vextar, the Magnificent, found his voice. His golden skin had lost its luster, and his magnificent crown seemed to dim in the presence of the humans. You could rule us all, he whispered. Ambassador Haiyan Wu Kim shook his head gently. We don't want to rule anyone. We never did. 5 years ago, we came here seeking friendship and partnership. Today, we make the same offer, but now we do so as equals. Equals? Croaked Counselor Vrexton of the Vorthic. You have technology. That makes our greatest achievements look like primitive tools. You are far beyond equals. You are gods compared to us. Dr. G1 Beak stepped forward, her expression serious but kind. Technology doesn't make gods. Wisdom does. And true wisdom means using power to help others, not to control them. Young Su Lim activated a new holographic display. This one showed images of dying worlds in the galaxy's outer rim, planets where energy crises had left billions suffering in darkness and cold. Your civilizations have problems that you've struggled with for centuries. We can help solve them. The hologram shifted to show the Zephyrian homeworld, where a plague had been killing their people for decades. Your scientists have tried everything to cure the quantum virus affecting your species, Dr. Hai-Jin Park said, addressing the floating jellyfish-like representatives. We can heal your people within a month. Another image appeared showing the dangerous quantum storms that had made entire sectors of space uninhabitable. These energy storms have been a mystery for millennia, continued Dr. Hai-Jin Park. We've learned that they're not natural disasters. They're actually living beings made of pure energy, and they're trying to communicate. We can teach you their language. Counselor Phylara of the Zephyrians floated forward, her bioluminescent form pulsing with hope. You ... you can truly cure. Our plague? We already have, Dr. G. One Beak replied. She held up a small vial filled with glowing liquid. This contains nanobots programmed with the cure. They will repair the quantum damage to your DNA and strengthen your immune systems. Your people will not only survive, they will be healthier than they've ever been. The chamber erupted in whispers as the implications sank in. These humans weren't just offering to help one species. They were offering to solve problems that had plagued the galaxy for thousands of years. Admiral So-Young Lee, now commanding Earth's space fleet, appeared on the communication screen. Her image was transmitted from orbit around Nexus Prime, where the human ship waited. Our fleet stands ready to assist any world in need, she announced. We have hospital ships that can treat diseases you've never seen cured. We have engineering vessels that can restore dead planets to life. Dr. Min-Soo Chun joined the presentation via hologram from Earth. His specialty was space-time manipulation, and his discoveries had made faster-than-light travel obsolete. We've learned to create stable wormholes that connect any 2 points in the galaxy instantly. Travel that once took months now takes minutes. Trade, communication, and friendship between distant worlds becomes possible. The holographic display showed a demonstration. A portal opened in the space near Nexus Prime, and through it, the aliens could see Earth's solar system in real time. Ships moved through the portal effortlessly, carrying supplies and personnel between star systems as easily as walking through a door. Impossible, breathed Counselor Kethvar of the machine civilization. Our greatest computers calculate that such portals would require more energy than a star produces. Professor the Jin Han appeared in the hologram, standing in her laboratory. On Earth, behind her, beings of pure energy moved gracefully through the air, creatures that the galaxy had feared and avoided for millions of years. We've made friends with the ethereals, she explained. The beings you call energy storms are actually an ancient race that exists in dimensions beyond normal space. They've been trying to contact other species for eons, but no one understood their language until now. One of the energy beings flowed closer to Professor the Jin Han, its form shifting and changing like liquid light. When it spoke, its voice sounded like singing crystals. The young flesh beings learn quickly, it said in perfect galactic common. They show wisdom rare among those bound to matter. We are pleased to call them friends. The council chamber fell, silent again. The ethereals had been considered the greatest mystery and threat in the galaxy, but the humans had turned them into allies. Council Speaker Vextar slowly stood from his throne. His pride was broken, but in its place was growing wonder. What do you want from us in return? Partnership, Haiyan Wu replied simply. We want to work together as equals. We want to share our knowledge and learn from yours. We want to build a galaxy where every species can thrive. But you could take anything you wanted, Vextar said. You could demand tribute, territory, slaves. You could remake the galaxy in your image. Dr. Chung Ho Shin appeared in the hologram, broadcasting from one of Earth's orbital cities. We've already begun remaking the galaxy, he said with a smile. But not through conquest, through healing. The display showed human teams working alongside alien scientists on a dozen different worlds. They were cleaning polluted atmospheres, restoring extinct species, and building new technologies that combined the best of all galactic civilizations. On Xerion Prime, we're working with your engineers to build cities that float in the clouds, Dr. Chung Ho Shin continued. On the Helix worlds, we're helping create crystal forests that sing with the harmony of the universe. On Vorthic colonies, we're building libraries that store knowledge in quantum matrices. Captain Su Jin Moon appeared next, speaking from the bridge of humanity's most advanced exploration ship. We've also made contact with species from other galaxies, she announced. Beings who exist in parallel dimensions, civilizations made, of dark matter and creatures that swim through the quantum foam between realities. The universe is so much bigger and more wonderful than any of us imagined. The humans had not just surpassed galactic civilization, they had transcended it entirely, moving beyond the limitations that had bound all other species. The vote, Vextar said quietly. We should vote on Earth's membership. No, Haiyan Wu said firmly. We don't want membership granted out of fear. We want it offered in friendship, or not at all. Counselor Vexara of the Helix stood up, her crystalline form glowing with determination. I vote to offer Earth full membership and ask them to lead our council into a new age. Seconded, called Counselor Phylara of the Zephyrians. Agreed, rumbled Counselor Vrexdan of the Vorthic. The vote was unanimous. Every species, every world, every representative voted to not just accept humanity, but to ask them to lead. Haiyan Wu looked around the chamber at the faces that had once mocked him. We accept membership as equals, he said, but leadership must be earned through service, not imposed through power. We will work together, all of us, to build something greater than any of us could achieve alone. As the session ended, former council speaker Vextar approached Haiyan Wu. We thought we were mocking primitives, he said quietly. Instead, we were witnessing the birth of gods. No, Haiyan Wu replied with a gentle smile. You were witnessing the birth of hope.